There's a traveling shliach. Today he's not anymore the traveling shliach. He's from the movers and shakers in Lubavitch, Rabbi Moshe Kedlarsky. Rabbi Kedlarsky travels all over the world. He's probably one of the most frequent flyers that exists today. He goes from city to city, country to country, all over the world. And one of his things is he organizes regional shluchim conventions. This guy is a guest speaker at the dinners of shluchim conventions, probably at least 100 of them a year. You know, it's like he travels the world. So here's a story that he told about one of his early missions that he had from the Rebbe. His job was to set up new shluchim in new places, and also in the summer to stand out the Merka shluchim, the students in yeshiva that go to far-flung places where there is no established Judaism, or there is, but it needs a little bit of strengthening. For example, when I was in Australia, my responsibility was with my partner. My partner of the first year who's now Rabbi Yudi Tachtel. He's the chief rabbi of Berlin. Second year I was there. My partner was Rabbi who's now the rabbi of Belfast. Lent, Zalman Lent. So my responsibility was to go all over New Zealand. We went from town to town, from city to city. In Auckland, we were best friends with everyone. The Bnei Akiva Shliach, we stayed in his house, and we were great friends with him and his family. And we were good friends with the Beitar Shliach and the Shomer HaTzair and the rabbi of the community. Everyone. We were good friends with everyone. With students, it's very easy. A bacher is 20 years old, you can be everyone's friend. You're not threatening anyone, knocking anyone's door. Especially it's a far out place. But Jews feel like, you just look in the phone book. You just open up the phone book. You just look for Cohens and Goldbergs, and the people call up, and you call up, and they say, "Oh, how do you get my number?" You just tell them the truth. I saw, is your name is Mr. Goldberg, and it's in the phone book. So, what do you want? We're visiting rabbis from Brooklyn. Could we come see you tonight? Oh, it's like, yeah, sure. What time, Rabbi? So you look in your schedule. We used to book at least 6 visits a night. And by daytime, we used to try to do activities with the kids. We used to make like a summer camp, or if it was a winter camp. We were busy. And we used to come back. We used to write up a report to the Rebbe. 25 homes, we knocked the mezuzah on the front door. This amount of people we connected to the community. This amount of kids. This amount, we'd write a whole report. Could you imagine how many go out by now? There is a few hundred students that go out Merka Shlichus every summer, and these guys are working 14 hours a day, 16 hours a day, non-stop. And these guys are working, and there's no inhibitions, and there's no expense, there's no overhead. These guys are working. So Rabbi Moshe Kedlarsky, that was his thing. He was to set up the Merka Shlichus. Till today, that's his thing. I mean, as I said, now they have hundreds that are going out of Merka Shlichus every summer.
Over 90?
No, it's not 90. It's about 70. And he said that in one of the early years he got a message from the Rebbe. The Rebbe said in the Caribbean islands, there's an island, he'd like him to go there and print a Tanya. In the 80s, the Rebbe was very big into printing a Tanya in every place in the globe. Every place in the globe. By now, there's over 5,000 editions of the Tanya.
Different places, all over different places.
So, the Rebbe said, he's there. He called up the community in advance to try to get people together, excitement, a rabbi visiting that rabbi from Brooklyn. There was a community there. Everyone came. They had in the courtyard at the shul, there was 90 people there. They had set up in advance of Rabbi Kedlarsky's coming a big printing machine, and they cranked up the machine, and they churned out the Tanyas, and he took the first papers of the Tanya, and he read from the Tanya, and he explained who is the author of the Tanya, what's the idea of the Tanya, and the heart of the Tanya, and explain about how the Tanya. Every Jew, a chelik lekam mal mamash, and the people were drinking it in, and the community chiefs, president community, everyone got up and spoke, and thank you very much, Rabbi, it was so nice. And the evening came to an end, and his taxi was waiting to take him back to the airport to go back to New York to bring the Tanya to the Rebbe. The gentleman walks over to us, Rabbi, can I have a minute? You're from Brooklyn. Do you by any chance know the Lubavitcher Rebbe? He said, yeah, I was sent here by him. I said, oh wow, what a coincidence. He says, our family is living here many years. Our grandmother came from Europe. They had a connection to the Lubavitcher Rebbe. They had a connection to Lubavitcher. Before my grandmother died, she said, if we ever have a serious issue, we should turn to Lubavitcher Rebbe. Lubavitcher Rebbe, she knew, was not the same Rebbe in 1986. She knew the Friedrich Rebbe. But she said, turn to Lubavitcher Rebbe, didn't know of anything. He said, I have a very serious issue now. All the Jewish children in this island there's only one school, a Catholic school. The people in the island are very devout Catholics. The administration of the school is very sympathetic to the Jews. There was a principal. There was sort of an understanding. They didn't come to any of the religious ceremonies. There is a church, school grounds. They were never obligated to join any of the religious ceremonies. There was a new principal that came. He wasn't interested in keeping the status quo. He required every single student has to come for prayers at the Beis Tiflis at the church. Jewish kids didn't want to go. Tried to get involved. This guy insisted that that's it. You come or you're kicked out of school. So what could we do? The only thing we could do is buy earplugs for the kids. So the fellow said, my son was really upset about it, and he decided that he's not going. So there was, after one prayer that he didn't show up, there was a rally. The principal called him up in front of everyone and gave him a slap for not showing up to the prayers, and kicked him out of school. To add to it, he wrote an op-ed in a local paper saying that this child was kicked out, and children that will try to befriend him, or his friends that will stay in contact with him, will not be secured that they will still have a place in the school. He doesn't know what to do. What should he do? So he would like to get advice from the Lubavitcher Rebbe. So Rabbi Kotlarski, who understood his mission, said, well, I was sent here by the Rebbe. Give me your son. We'll take care of your son. Your son is not wanted in this island. He got a slap. He was kicked out. He has no friends. Send him with me. Lubavitch will take care of him. Miraculously, the guy agreed. His son went flying back with Rabbi Kotlarski. Rabbi Kotlarski put the boy into yeshiva. The fellow is now a frum younger man. He has a frum family, frum children. The father was so excited about it. He was really happy about how everything turned out. His son became religious. He was happy about it. He was really excited about it. So he sat down and he wrote a letter to the Rebbe. He said, this is a thank you letter from a little Jew to big Rebbe. He wrote a whole letter of thank you. The Rebbe wrote, the Rebbe, with a pencil said, there's no little Jew. Every Jew is a chelik elaka mimal mamash. There is no little Jew.
So in England, the British authorities in the school tried to close down a Jewish school because they're not allowing matters of educational immorality whatever it is.
Wow.
They want them sensitive to it, and they want to close it down.
Wow. Okay, so let this year help out for that Yiddish school. So let's read quickly here in the sheet. This, according to the Goyim, called this the Book of Numbers, right? Midbar is called the book.
Why they get up to that?
So here is B'Medrash Rabbah. B'Midbar Perek Parsha Beis Yudaleh. Elub Kudah B'nei Yisrael Beis Avosim Basorim B'Koyim Nimnei Yisrael. 10 times the Jews were counted. Echad B'Yeridas HaMitzrayim, once when they went down to Egypt, B'Shivim Nefesh Yordu Havisecha, they were counted, and the Torah says it was 70 people. Echad B'Eliyasan, once when they came out of Egypt, V'Yisum Yisrael Meramsus HaKoysa. V'Echad Achem Ma'isa Egel, one after the Egel, after the golden calf. He says it's Resh B'nei Yisrael. Sheni B'Chudash B'Chumash B'Kudim. In other words, when they went out of Egypt, when they went down, they were counted. When they went out, when the Egel happened, and the Chumash Bekudim, Achad B'Degolim, Achad B'Chiluk Ha'oretz, Shnayim B'mei Shol, 2 happens in the days of Shol, V'ifkedem V'Kloim, V'ifkedem V'Bozik, V'echad B'mei David, 1 time of David, V'itten Yoyev is Mispar HaMifked Am, as a Mispar Lama Mefaked, so on, the end of the Bozik, V'echad B'mei Mezra, Kol HaKol Ke'echad Arba Riboy, V'echad L'Otzed Lo, V'emom Alak Mashiach will come, Oy Tavorna Tzoyin Al Demoyna. Let's look at the first Rashi in Parshas Bamidbar. Veidaber Bamidbar Sineh Be'echad L'Chodesh. Rashi says Metoichi Botsan Lefonav, because the Eibishter loves the Jewish people. Moin Oisam Kol Shai, he counts them every hour, all the time. Shiotzim Mitzrayim, they went out of Egypt, Mon and he count them. Shenof L'Beigel, when some of them died in the Egel, Mon and he count. Laid them in and they sought him to know the number of those that were left over. When he came to rest the Shechin on them, Monam, he counted them. Because he was rested the Shechin on them, so the Nisan was, the Mishkan was put up, so right the next month they were counted. Fast forward to this Parsha today, the Parsha Pinchas. It says, Vayhi Achere HaMagefa, and the command was to count the Jews. So look at the Rashi at the bottom here on the left column. The parable here is of a shepherd that the wolves came in to the place of the sheep, the barn, and they killed sheep. Laying them in, and the shepherd counts to see how many sheep are alive. Dover Acher, Shiyotzim, the time they went out of Egypt, Nimsur Moshe, they were given to Moshe, Nimsur Minyan, they were given to him by number. Like you give a shepherd a whole bunch of sheep, you can count them. I give you now 22 sheep, I expect when you bring it back, 22. Eibishter gave Moshe Rabbeinu the Jewish people to take care of, he counted them, you take care of them. This is the number. Now it was time for him to go up to heaven. It was time to die. And to return the sheep, he gives it back and he counts it. He says, here, count it up. This is how many children were born. This is what you gave me. This is what I return.
But the brother doesn't know how many. The brother knew exactly.
Okay.
You asked at the beginning,
Oh, we said, B'Torchi Bosam.
So that money you wanted
So the thing is like this. The shaila here is, seems to be a contradiction here. Why does Rashi already said in the beginning of the Parsha, in the beginning of the whole book of Dvorim, Bamidbar, that he keeps on counting the Jews because he loves them. Like Shmulik says, you love your money, so you count them. So something you like, you count. Why is it that you need to give a new mashal Roya? Why do we need a new mashal the shepherd? And even if you go back to the previous Rashi, the Rashi in the beginning of Bamidbar, it's a contradiction in that Rashi itself too. And Rashi says in the beginning, because he loves them, he counts them all the time. Then he continues, he says, when they died, he counted to know how much were left over. For what reason are you counting? To know how much are left over, or because you love them? Which one? Your question is a good question. The Rebbe is going to answer your question, Mamela. But Pashat and Rashi, it's contradiction one line to the other line. It doesn't flow. If you say you love them, so you count them all the time. Okay. If you say because some of them died, you need to know how much are left over. That's also an answer. But they don't flow. One goes straight into the other. Which one is it? Another question. What does it mean kol shah?
Why do you need to know how much is left over?
That's his question. The Rebbe Shalom knows anyway. Okay. This question will also be answered. What does it mean kol shah? Kol shah? Every hour? On the hour? What is kol shah? The Medrash says, in the whole history of Bnei Yisrael, they counted 10 times. You call that kol shah?
Kol shah, anytime he has a chance.
6,000 years, there's a couple more chances, you think, more than 10 times. And if you really look at the details, not all of the countings are really a counting of all Bnei Yisrael. The first 5 is true, and the days of Shaul, the Mei David, the Mei Ezra was only a part. The days of Ezra, for example, they counted all the Jews that came up to Israel. They count all the Jews the world over. They counted how many Jews came back to Israel. It wasn't all the Jews that came back. There was a big number of Jews that came back, but not all the Jews. Not at all. Pshat is like this. The answer is, there's a Shalah. Shalah Kodesh says, and this is brought in Chassidus and many Maimonim. There's a halacha that dova shebeminyan any bottle. Usually we have in kosher, if there's something non-kosher gets mixed in, sometimes it's bottled beroiv, majority, and sometimes it's bottled betam, with taste. If you don't know how to taste, how are you going to taste treif? How are you going to taste? So you have shishim, you say 60. Some things are bottled be'echad be'meya, be'echad be'masayim, 100 times, 200 times. It's a certain bit. However, the Mishnah says in the beginning, Orla, in the beginning of Beitzah, there are certain things that are never bottled. For example, these pomegranates. Those pomegranates were huge and juicy there. They were not sold by pounds. They were sold individually. How many Rimonim do you want? Anything that you count, the Welt sagt, there's a saying, the Welt sagt, people get old, they lose all interest in certain types, this, that, not interested in anymore. But there's one type that people have even when they're old people. Money. That's what the Welt says. Something that you count, the money, even if it's 1,000 years, the type for money is not bottled. He has no teeth, he has no time for steak, he doesn't want to smoke. He has high blood sugar, he's not interested in this and that. But money, that he's want. I feel a be'elef loy bottle. So the Shalah Kodesh says, the Eibishter counts, because Jews are the minority, so we'll say that the world will wash over them. There is so much more goyim. They will be influenced by the people around them. Instead of them influencing the world will influence them. Instead of them affecting the world will affect them. Instead of them having dominion over the world will have dominion over them. So we say, no, the Eibishter counts the Jew. Afila bi'elef loy bottle. That's the word of the Shalom. Exactly.
To keep them close.
So same thing, for example, in Jews itself. Jews that are Shomrei Torah mitzvahs is unfortunately not a majority of Klal Yisrael. So to stand up and to for principle and to do every single mitzvah properly, not to look for shortcuts, but to really do the mitzvah, because Hashem said to do the mitzvah, not try to not do the mitzvah. There's few Jews that are trying to do so. So it's a davar shebeminyan. The Eibishter counts them. So now afilu be'elef lo yibotl, or even an individual in our daily life. There are people that are fortunate. Majority of the day, they're doing Torah and Gemilas Chasodim and Tefillah. But most people, that's not the case. Most of the day, they have to work. And whatever their work is mundane stuff. So, but the koyach of the counting is that the little bit of time in the day that is spiritual, that they're learning Torah, that the Tefillah, that should be not bottled in the rest of the 24 hours of the day. That should stand out. Not that the rest of the day, the rest of the hours at the office influence his person. The person's hour that he learns Sunday night, the Lakuta Sichas, or Shabbos morning, that he davens, that influences the rest of the week and all the people that he meets all week. Not the other way around. That's a Pshat Tzadov Shebeminyan.
That's why we give the Pushka.
Right. Very nice. So the Rebbe says like this, Alomdasha question. What does it mean, Davar Shebeminyan Einei Bottle? Is it a Siba or a Sima? In other words, like this. Is it, how do we know that the pomegranates in Badon are very choshev? Because they count them. That's not what makes them choshev. What makes them choshev is because they're very juicy. But how do we know that they're very juicy? Maybe the pomegranates from Chile is also juicy. So no, because in Chile they could sell them by pound, and in Badon they count them. Another way of saying is no. It's not a sin. That's the fact, because it's done by because they're done by number 1, 2, 3. That's what gives them the chashivas. Which one is it? The Rebbe says from the Shalah, you see that the answer is quite simple. The number does it. Why? Because if we want that the Jew should be choshev, should be so strong, they shouldn't get washed away by the influence of the world. So, if he's really choshev, you don't have to count him. And if he's not choshev, it's not going to help to count him. What's counting going to help? Is that ayah that counting is not only a simon on cheshivus, counting gives cheshivus. When you count something, it makes it choshev. If it's sold by weight, by volume, not choshev. If I sell it by the dozen, I sell it by the number, that makes it choshev. So when the Eibishter counts the Jews, that gives them the chashivus. That really what it does, it megala the neshama. The question now is like this. The Gemara says there's a machloikis in the Mishnah. Es shadar kelim neshaninu, kol shadar kelim neshaninu. Es shadar kelim, this means that this is sold only by number, never ever any other way. Or is it things that are usually sold by number? Sometimes, take a box. Give me $50 for the box. So the shaila is what happens in such a case. One opinion is es shadar kelim. It has to be something that's only sold by number. If sometimes it's sold by estimate, that's not a davar shebeminyan. Other opinion says no, kol shadar kelim. If sometimes it's sold by number, it's choshev. Right. So the shaila is, what's the difference between es or kol? Every hour? Every 10 hours? No. It's every time you do a sale. Every time, it doesn't matter if this item is sold once a year, or once in 10 years, or once in 20 years, or once in 100 years, or 5 times a day. It's when you're doing a sale, how are you doing the sale? When you're doing a sale from a seller to a buyer, how are you doing the deal? Is it that sometimes they just take the box, give me $50, or is it that so choshev, you don't say, oh, there's a box of jewelry, just take the box of jewelry, just give me $2,000. No jeweler does that. We have to weigh the gold We have to look, measure the diamonds. They don't say, yeah, just whatever, take a box. So, but the ikad is not, kol shah doesn't mean every hour. Just like it says, Valkayin, Vayesha Hashem, he turned. Valkayin v'mechazeh shah, he didn't turn. Every time you pay attention to this deal, how is it done? So the thing is like this. It's not a shayla. Rashi says two things. Rashi says he loves them, therefore he counts them all the time. And he says also, he counted them now to know, because at every special moment he counts them. It's hainu hach. Whenever there is a sale, they're going from Yeshua to Moshe, from Moshe to Yeshua. They're going from one level to Kedusha to a quantitative, a whole new, or a qualitative level of Kedusha. So now they're going to be counted. They went out of Mitzrayim, they became a new nation. They were counted. So, Kol Shah doesn't mean every hour, it means at every significant point. And we say Kol Shah, it never happens that once there was a significant turn in Jewish history and God said, the Jewish people are just about around this number. It was always, it had to be exact. It's Eis Shadarki, it's not, it's Eis Shadarki Limnis, not Kol Shadarki Limnis, Eis Shadarki, at Kol Shah. Therefore, it answers our first two questions. Again, Kol Shah doesn't mean every hour, it means at every significant point in history, Hashem counts the Eden. That gives them cheshivus. And that's why it happened only 10 times, because it doesn't have to happen 300 times. It's not just, oh, it's something I love so much, I keep on opening my wallet. Every time there is, in order for something to be afila be'elef loy bottle, it has to be that every time this will be sold, it's going to be Eis Shadar Kelim L'Sheninu. It's never going to be sold unless it's counted. Never going to say, oh, just take this box. It's just about, that'll be 40, 50. No, never. Eis Shadar Kelim. Whenever it's going to be sold, it's going to be sold by number. That's the pshat. Kol Shah. Kol Shah doesn't mean every hour. In history, it happened 10 times. Because the Kedusha, the elevation of Kedusha, in the history of Klal Yisrael is 10 times. Just like there's 10 Sfiras in Kedusha. There's 10 times going up. That's the pshat. And that's why Rashi continues. And he tells you what happened at each time that they were counted. It's not a contradiction. We say because he loves them, he counts them every hour. Therefore, when they went out of Mitzrayim, he counted them. It's not a contradiction. Because when they went out of Mitzrayim was a significant move. They went out of Mitzrayim. So one thing is when they went down to Mitzrayim. One is when they go out of Mitzrayim. They went into Mitzrayim in order to purify themselves. When out of Mitzrayim, the Eibishter took them out. There was a purification mitzvah the Eibishter. When the Eibishter decided to rest the Shechina on them, that was a significant thing. Now it wasn't only a spiritual Kedusha, the Kedusha came down into action. The Malachim said, give us the Torah. The Eibishter said, I'm only giving the Torah to human beings that they could do Torah with action. You don't have a Yetzirah, you don't have a father, mother, Gnevik, Zela. Then when the Mishkan was the Kedusha came down Pashat in that the gold and the silver became Mamish Kodesh. So it was a significant move. Then there was the Maisa Egel, they became Bali Tshuva. Then there was going into Eretz Yisrael. They already had mitzvahs. But the Meraglim, they wanted to keep mostly spiritual. They didn't want to go into the land of Israel. They'll be busy most of the day and the night, working and toiling and having businesses, farming. But we know that Toiva Oretz Ma'oid Ma'oid, that where do we really touch the essence of Hashem is when you do physical mitzvahs. And this is the Maimah we're learning right now in the Kutei Torah and Bolot. We started this Shabbos, which will continue following Shabbos. The Dafka, where is the essence of the Neshama? Roiva Yisrael. Bolot said Mispas Roiva. Just like in the old city, there's the Jewish Rova. The Rova HaYehudi. Why is it called the Rova HaYehudi? Because the city was split into 4 quarters. There was, and the Rova Yehudi, you want to end up there, you don't want to end up in the other Rova. So Mashiach will come, the older will be zeichet to have all the Rovas. But right now, so the Rova is, the Alter Rebbe says, is that The regular is the 3 dagas of kedusha. The highest, the dag in kedusha, is revealed min mona afar Yaakov. When the Yidden do mitzvahs like offer, that's when the zoicha to have roiva Yisrael. That darga which is called the roiva, which is the 4th quarter. The atzilus, yeah. That's dafka when you do mitzvahs b'maisa. So basically the Medrash and Rashi is bringing it down that in every significant elevation in kedusha, again out of Egypt, they got the Torah, they became Bali Tshuva, they went into Eretz Yisrael, and the ultimate will be the last counting. Mashiach will come. Because when the Eibishter counts the Jews, that's when the neshama shines. Because no Jew gets a choshev Jew doesn't get counted as 2, and the lesser Jew doesn't get counted as half. Every Jew gets counted as the same number, right?
When there's a count, there's going to happen. So is Hashem telling the leader the generation do the counting, or like with Ezra, do you actually tell Ezra to count? And the last count, or
We don't know. It says in Yirmiyahu, "Oy tavorna atzoin al yedei moina." We don't know. Mashiach will come. We're going to find out how it's going to happen. All the other countings was Moshe Rabbeinu counted, Shaul, David HaMelech counted, Ezra counted. How is it going to be when Mashiach will come? I don't know.
We wait and see. We count.
Does Hashem count the Jews, keep them close to him?
To give them that power, that the neshama should shine in them.
But he makes a connection with these guys.
When he makes a counting, every Jew, the neshama is the chelik l'ka. Every Jew, instead of being a little Jew, becomes a big Jew. Like the Jew from the Caribbean islands. So the little Jew all of a sudden becomes a big Jew. So now it doesn't matter that the whole island is Catholic. Doesn't matter that the whole island is Oivdei Avodah Zarah. It doesn't matter that he works in Manhattan and the entire island are very materialistic people. All they care is about the Avodah Zarah of the dollar. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the fads of the time, the fashions, the attitudes, the anochas olam haza, the our world outlook of the people in the time. I am a Jew, and even though I only have 2-3 hours of the day for spirituality, and even though the rest of the day I spend in my office, I run around in the city or the outer boroughs, and I have a job and I work with people, and then it doesn't matter. They're not influencing me, I'm influencing them. Why? Because every Jew is not a little Jew. Every Jew has a chilek l'ka. And that's a dovish b'minyan afila be'elef loibat. It could be 1,000 goyim, 1,000 nisyonos, 1,000 minutes, connected to 1 minute that I spent in tefillah. But they're not influencing me, I'm influencing them. That's a pshat. Rashi says that he counted the Jews leida minyan hanoisore. What kind of language is this? Leida minyan hanoisore. What's noisa means like shirayim, express. The shirayim, noisa doesn't only mean shirayim. Noisa also means wow. Hamalocha hoisa dayam v'hoise. Extra. Chassidus says that really the two things are not a contradiction. They go together. When you fill up a barrel, it's full, and you put a little more wine in, it spills over. It's like a siman brocha. It's Rosh Hashanah, siman brocha. When you have wine, put a little extra. Kol bayis she'ein yain nishpach b'ayim b'siman brocha. Siman brocha is you put a little extra wine, and it spills over. That's why I spoke about this when we went to Halacha with Samazon. Minig Yisrael is to have a plate under. Why do we have a plate under the bed? Huh? You know the reason? To keep the wine, because otherwise the wine goes to waste. It's bal tashchis. On the one hand, it's a simah bracha if you spill the wine over. Shefa. Very nice. But on the other hand, it's bal tashchis. So which one should you do? If you spill the wine over, it's a simah bracha. But then you're wasting. If you don't so that's why the Yiddish cup always figures out an answer. So that's why we put a tetzel, a plate. And if you noticed, the Rebbe always repoured that wine back in.
Sfaradim do it.
Always pour the wine back in, because it's kosher bracha, but it's a sign. That's shirayim. Because this blig vul is already so much, it's pouring over to the side. Just like the story in the Tanakh, that the Navi said, Elisha said to the woman, that she should fill up all the kelim reikim with the oil. Then she should take the oil and sell it. She should pay back all the debts of her husband, so the debtors could go. They should stop bothering her and trying to take away her children to slavery. And then what does he say at the end? Atu banayich tichyu banoisa. So that, in other words, after you pay up all the debts, it's like, which money do you enjoy? When you pay the taxes, property taxes, the gas, the electric, shine, whatever.
You can pay.
Shine, but what? But the extra few dollars they left in your pocket, that you could buy a stick of potato kugel, you could give a little bit of tzedakah. You appreciate those couple of dollars. You appreciate all the, like the 80% of the money that you get that goes immediately out to pay all that. That's okay. It's great. Baruch Hashem. Well, you want to be in debt? Who wants to be in debt? It's the most liberating feeling is not to have debt. But where do you enjoy those extra few dollars? You can put aside. Mitzvah make a simcha. You can give a yid alvoa. So that's a pshat noise. Atu banayich. Chazal say at sheyichu ameis. So, like that, for example, the Gemara says in Tainus, Eretz Yisrael shoyse make shamim chaloyla metamtzis, that the clouds of the world, they like to give their water to Eretz Yisrael. The leftovers goes to the rest of the globe. It's a lot of l'shirayim. I think it's a Rebbe shirayim. Eretz Yisrael takes a little lick of the kugel, and the Welt zachapt all the rest. I think Eretz Yisrael should get a little more of the kugel.
We give too much.
Definitely more rain.
So they need some more. So the kid said, "What is noiser? Noiser, when a yid goes to Golus, so there's atu banayich tichya b'noiser. There's noiser not in a negative way, noiser in a positive way. The yid does tshuva, and that is at sheyichya noiser, at sheyichya meiser. That there's tchis hamesim, that there's sparks of kedusha all over the world, and when the yid elevates it, he takes it away from being in a place of death. That's tchis hamesim. So that's a pshat minyan haneisore. When the yid do tshuva, now there is that mile of noisa, not just a regular brocha. It's like bligvul, because balei tshuva have that special brocha that's more than the regular kedusha. It's bligvul. So that's a pshat. Now, after the Egel was the minyan haneisore. Same thing after here. After there was a story of the Baal Pa'or and the Yidden the tshuva. So the Rashi says it was minyan haneisore. Someone asked the question: who is doing the last count? Who's doing the last count? So the Medrash says. Omar HaKadosh Baruch Hu Ba'olam hazeh hoyu b'nei Adam soifrim eschem Aval ha'olam haba ani esper eschem Ve'ein mi yisper eschem Shenemar v'yimis b'nei Yisrael k'chil ha'yom asher lo yimid v'lo yisaf. The Eibusha says that all the first 9 countings human beings were able to count. There was a certain gvul. It wasn't banoisa. It wasn't. But when the Jews will be so many Jews all over the world, which human being can count? No human being can count. I can count, the Rebbeinu Shalom says. The 10th counting, I'm going to do myself. So to summarize, what's the idea? The book of Numbers. We're finishing now midway. What's the meaning of the counting? The Torah spends so much time counting the Jewish people to show us that no Jew is a little Jew, like the Rebbe wrote to the Yid in the Caribbean. There's no little Jew. Every Jew is very big, because every Jew is a chelik al-kamim al-mamash. And that is revealed through the counting, because in that every Yid is equal. So the counting makes that afila be'elef, just like in the halachas of kosher, that if you have majority, you have 60, you have 100, 200, so this thing becomes bottle, null and void. We say a Jew is never null and void in the world. It doesn't matter, there's an island full of people against me. Doesn't matter, there's a whole country against me. Doesn't matter that the Soviet Union was against a whole bunch of Yiddelach who tried to keep Judaism. They prevailed. It doesn't matter that there's a whole society who is very materialistic, and that's the whole thing in life. But there's a few Yiddelach in New York that are not that way. For them, life is about spirituality, about tefillah, about Torah, and they prevail. Why do they prevail? L'choyre, they're 1 out of 1,000, they're a speck out of 1,000, and even in their own day, the time that they have in spirituality is a speck out of all the other hours that they have to do mundane things, because they're dovish b'minyan, the Eibishter counts them. Every Yid gets counted. So therefore, Afilu be'elef lo yibadlu. That answers why Rashi says something that's precious, you count it every hour. They only count it 10 times. But every time there was a step up, the Eibishter counted them. Therefore, the Yidden is eis shadarke limnus. Therefore, Afilu be'elef lo yibadlu. The Eibishter shall help them that soon we should be take the 10th counting that comes with Mashiach Tzidkenu. B'mheira b'yameinu.